is being run and ruined by socialists, racists, and idiots. It's time to stand up. It's time to fight. It's time to put manners and politeness aside. It's time to offend. It's time to yell, scream, protest, and get angry. It's time to take back our country before there is no country or economy left to take back. God bless America.
Thanks, Wayne. This is the Savage Nation. I'll be back.
Savage.
Imagine discovering an opportunity that can completely rebuild your retirement fund by 40% over the next 2 years. Does it sound too good to be true? It's not if you take action today. Call my good friends, and I mean good friends, at Swiss America. Gold IRAs have averaged 20% per year growth since 2001. It's just common sense to roll over dead paper assets into gold, the best performing asset of the century. Then you can relax no matter what happens on Wall Street. Call now for a complete Gold 101 DVD and my free CD.
Call toll-free 888-867-8965. That's 888-867-8965.
For nearly a decade, I've told you to trust gold coins and Swiss America. Today, it's more urgent than ever. Get my CD, DVD, and new special report.
Call toll-free 888-867-8965. That's 888-867-8965.
Learn before you earn. Don't just imagine rebuilding your wealth. Do it now.
Call 888-867-8965 today.
The Savage Nation.
He has it all covered.
Weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk 910 KNEW.
I didn't know Robert Novak. I hope he went to the place where we all hope to go and not to the other place where liberals go. But he's getting a lot of play. We can't say anything bad about the dead unless they lived in San Francisco. And, all right. So it brings up your mortality. What are they going to say about you when you die and this and that? And lo and behold, my cardiologist sent me my lab results. I'm supposed to see him tomorrow. Then I don't have any cardiac trouble, but I go once a year because I got upside-down lipids. You say, what, are you crazy talking about your blood lipids on the air? Yes. Because I'm going to lead to a medical point that may be of some value to some of you out there who are a little concerned about your cholesterol, for example. And so many Americans are being sold on Lipitor and Lipitor-like drugs who may not need them. And I want to talk about that for a minute because there are other things that you might be able to do that are not drug-related. But the society is drugged to death, whether they're on antidepressants when they don't need them or they're on anti-cholesterol medications when they may not need them. The country is drugged to death. And what's interesting is it ties right into the healthcare debate because you'll notice that the drug companies are all in favor of Obamacare. Now, why would the drug companies be in favor of Obamacare? Because it will give unlimited prescription drugs to everybody in America, and they'll make trillions of dollars. You understand how this works? You understand how this all works together? Follow the money. So let's go back to the fact that, drugs are lifesavers, don't get me wrong. But they should be used as a last resort, not on a recreational basis, as is being done in this country. Many of the American people today are practicing recreational medicine. Everybody in this country thinks something's wrong with them and gets a prescription for it. Now, in some cases, I said RXs can save your life, but in most cases, they're useless or dangerous, okay? Now, having laid the groundwork for that, I want to go back again to what I'm talking about. For years, I've struggled with upside-down VAP profiles, my LDL high, my HDL low, my overall cholesterol through the ceiling, triglycerides high. Whatever you look at, it's upside down. So if a normal person got this, they would run and say, I'd do anything because I think I'm going to die. But it's been like this for 20 years. But I'm not dead. And thus far, I haven't had a heart attack. So it doesn't make sense. Unless you get an even more refined test, which I got. Now, remember, I come from a family of early death by coronary heart disease. I don't want to give you the ages and turn it into a joke. But I've been running scared about a heart attack since I'm 30, maybe 20, which is what drove me into the jungles of the South Seas, collecting plants, drove me to get a PhD in epidemiology and nutrition, drove me to research and write books on health before I went into radio. I'll never forget, when I entered radio in 1994, I said, this is probably going to kill me younger than I normally would go, but it'll be worth it. And, every day is a miracle to me, but I'm still here 15 years later, and the stress level's as high as it could be. You have to say, well, how the hell does a guy live like this with this kind of stress? People have said to me I blow off steam on the air, so therefore I'm alive. All right, that's one way to look at it. It's probably folklorically true. What I'm saying is I have a 0 LPA. Last time it was very low, like a 0.1. Now it's a 0. It's because I've been dosing myself to life with fish oils and a few other things. What I'm getting at is I have no control, by and large, over the LPA other than taking lots of vitamin C. But it's genetic. So I must have inherited from my mother her LPA levels. She died at 88. My dad, may rest in peace, died at 57. I'm hoping that my LPA is inherited. It was inherited from my mother, but I definitely got it from someone. On to other topics. I grew up with a dog. I was very lucky. Even when I was a kid, I had a dog. I've had a dog all my life. Always had a dog. And, well, I wrote about Tippy and all in Psychological Nudity. He was the part chow. Lunatic dog. Ripped my foot open when I was 11. And now I have the smartest dog I've ever had in my life, which is a small 10-pound, they call it a toy poodle. I don't like the word toy when it comes to an animal. There's nothing about a toy about him. It's like a condensed poodle. You say poodle, you think foo-foo, weak. You know, a real standard poodle is not a weak dog. They're phenomenal watchdogs. And a small one, well, let me put it to you this way. Would you like to be bitten by a gopher? Would you like to be bitten by a rat? Would you like to be bitten by any animal with sharp incisor teeth? No. So why would you think that a 10-pound animal with sharp teeth is a weakling? You know, don't underestimate any dog. That's all I can tell you. If you've ever been bitten by a dog of any size, it's going to be quite an awesome experience. But Teddy is not a watchdog, okay? He's not an attack dog. He's just a companion. Great ears, great sense of smell. Sometimes I hold him in my arms. I love to hold him in my arms let's say I'm out on a walk somewhere, and I see somebody in the distance. Now, because I'm a man, I'm taller than him. I hold him in my arms where I put his head up at my level, and I say to him, "What do you smell over there, Teddy? What do you hear over there, Teddy?" And I love to watch that nose go to work, to watch the sensor called the nose and see the olfactory organs. You know, you see how they start to inhale molecules out of the air, or you could see the ears. I love to watch dogs' actions. Anyway, I've always been a dog lover in that regard. I remember one of the first books I ever got on dogs was called The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Other Animals by Charles Darwin. I know that won't go over very big with creationists, but it has nothing to do with creationism. It has to do with observationism. And Darwin was a heck of an observer, irrespective of whether you believe in evolution or not. It doesn't matter. He was one of the finest observers in history in terms of his capacity to understand comparative anatomy. But when he wrote The Expression of, I wonder where that book is. I'll never forget it, because he showed pictures of man and his various expressions. Darwin did. And in the same book, he showed dogs' expressions and their various meanings. Keen observer.
Savage.
Hi, it's Roger Hitchcock coming up at 7 on Talk 910 KNEW. Right now, Michael Savage.
I want you to listen to some of what Obama had to say the other day about Afghanistan. You know, the war that all the leftists support because Obama is for it? Listen to him agonize about Afghanistan.
As I've said before, that is the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning. It's the last thing that I think about when I go to sleep at night. And I will not hesitate to use force to protect the American people or our vital interests.
It's eerie how much this speech sounds like the lead up to Vietnam in the 60s. Obama may as well be LBJ saying these words about going into Vietnam.
The insurgency in Afghanistan didn't just happen overnight, and we won't defeat it overnight. This will not be quick nor easy. But we must never forget, this is not a war of choice. This is a war of necessity. Those who attacked America on 9/11 are plotting to do so again. If left unchecked, the Taliban insurgency will mean an even larger safe haven from which al-Qaeda would plot to kill more Americans. So this is not only a war worth fighting, this is fundamental to the defense of our people.
Fundamental to the defense of our people? What are we defending against? What are we fighting for? Why are we there? To help the Afghanis? That's what he seems to be saying here?
Going forward, we will constantly adapt to new tactics to stay ahead of the enemy and give our troops the tools and equipment they need to succeed. And at every step of the way, we will assess our efforts to defeat al-Qaeda and its extremist allies and to help the Afghan and Pakistani people build the future that they seek.
Why do we need to help them seek a better future at the expense of American lives?